good afternoon. Dean Beckley, President of the Church Council here at Northern Lutheran Church, and Glenn Klein, Treasurer. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to go through and make sure everyone understand kind of the 2019 budget review. Not everyone was at the budget review meeting in January, so we wanted to catch everyone up on that and how everything went, as well as wanted to give you an update on the loan that we finally closed out and what our payments are going to be and how that's going to work as far as paying that going forward on the beautiful new addition that we have. So let's first go ahead and start running through the meeting notes. Now this meeting originally happened on January 19th, let me go back, yeah, January 20th actually of 2019. So here are some of the things that we had covered. So actually, you know what, this is all just the pretense to the meeting. So there was two categories that are expenses exceeded budget: gas and heat, and building repair and maintenance. And that was due to some unexpected expenses when it came to repair. So all of the other categories, if you look in the annual report, were under or very near what we budgeted for 2018. Okay, so our offerings came in at $52 more than expected. That's obviously pretty close to what we were looking for. So that was very, very close. Now, still, with all of that, our expenses exceeded our income by over $15,000. So we also had a loan to ourselves that we have not repaid for $23,000. So what we wanted to do this year, so we didn't have this issue coming into next year, is, you know, as you can see, this is the problems we had. Expenses are exceeding our income. All of our reserves have been are gone, and then so basically, yeah. So we're living paycheck to paycheck. So we got to be careful on how we're doing our finances. So what we are proposing for 2019, for those of you that were not here, is we're finally going to balance the budget after, as long as I can remember.
As long as I can remember.
We're finally, right? Yeah, at least 10 years. We're going to finally balance the budget. And so how are we going to balance the budget, right? So we had to cut a few things, right? But the good news is, since this meeting, during the meeting, you'll probably remember if you were here, Donna Hanson offered to pay half of the budget that was taken out for. That'll be on the next slide, for our friends over at the youth choir. So we'll come to that in a little bit. But outreach, we had to cut their budget back a little bit. They requested $4,500. We gave them $2,500, so about $2,000 decrease there. Yep, so there we go. And then the youth, this is the other one that was out there. So the youth had a budget of $5,300. This is all youth. They requested a budget of $8,400 in 2019, and this was higher due to the mission trips that were coming out. So we actually had to back that down to $5,400, okay? So, yeah, I'm just making sure there's nothing else down here that's terribly important. So,
these were the groups where we actually took the budget down to zero. Senior choir, handbell choir, Thankful Heart, and the sound system.
Right, so and the reason these got moved down to zero was these have separate funds that have been established for them. They came in as not private donations, but designated donations. So all these are taken care of. They have money, it's just in designated funds. So that way they were actually taken out of the overall budget, which is what it says here. Now, children's choir, during the meeting in January, we had made the announcement that children's choir would be discontinued just because it did not fit in the budget item. During the meeting, Donna Hanson had said that she'll pay for half of it, and then it sounds like choir members and family members of the children's choir came up with the remaining balance, which now that has been put back in as a program. It's still not in the budget because it's being privately funded outside of the budget, right. But thank you for all those who donated and kept that program alive. So thank you very much. So many of the staff salaries were held steady in 2019. There was not many raises that went out. So what we ended up doing, so anticipated expenses in 2019 we're still projected to outgrow our income in 2019, so here's what we had to do. So what we decided to do in order to balance the budget was to lower our pledge to the ELCA. So we were, on average, giving them right around $25,000 a year, which is
Correct.
roughly, I think 5%.
Right.
Is what we
Yeah,
had,
5%
we council had decided, the 5% benevolence, which would be about $25,000. Since that's very close to what our shortfall has been, we decided to lower our benevolence even more, make sure we take care of our budget first, and at that point, if there's money left over at the end of 2019, we will increase our benevolence back up to whatever we can. But in order to balance the budget, that was really the only place we had money to draw from, AKA a big ticket item, that allowed us to get to where we needed to be. So I think that was the biggest high points as far as the 2019 budget is concerned. Let me see what else we have here. And that's really about it. So if you have any questions on the 2019 budget or anything Glenn and I talked about here today, please reach out to the office and they will reach out to myself and Glenn, Michelle, or Samira at the office. They will track us down if you have further questions. So now what we want to talk about is, let's talk about, I'm just going to get back to our main screen here. Let's talk about our loan. So we have an initial line of credit that we got from MIF, which was, what, $1.8 million?
Yeah, 1.8.
We did not obviously need $1.8 million for this project.
Right.
So I'm going to have you step a little closer here, Glenn, so it catches up your voice. Okay. So I'm going to have Glenn run through what we borrowed, what we've paid back thus far, and then what our payments are going to be, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure everybody's comfortable with what our payment is going to be given what we have in the bank thus far. So Glenn, I'll let you go through that.
All right, thanks. The current loan balance is $1,243,000. If we took a loan out right now just for that amount, we'd be looking at a payment of about $7,200, give or take. If we were able to pay that down to $1 million, our monthly payment would be down to $5,700 and some change. When we look at what's available for paying that down, we have right now about $465,000 that hasn't been used, and we still have some things that are outstanding. We had a Rossi final payment. We're looking at up to $75,000 for that. We just bought a scrubber for the floors. That was $3,000. We had to hold back $5,000 for our giving campaign in the fall, and then we left the reserve in there, as we've noticed that the monthly funds that we're receiving aren't as high now as they were in the previous 2 years. So that would leave us roughly $175,000 to hold back, assuming that we get no more contributions during 2019. So that roughly leaves us with $287,000 to pay down that loan right now, which would give us a loan of about $955,000. Now you have to also remember that $955,000 also includes rolling in the old loan that we had with Thrivent for $189,000.
So our previous mortgage prior to taking this loan was $189,000, and that's rolled into what our ending balance will be of $955,000?
Correct.
So, okay, perfect.
So we're looking at our monthly payment probably being around $5,000, give or take, depending upon what it all flushes out with.
So after it's all said and done, our payment will have gone from roughly $1,800 a month in our pre-construction that we had. That was the original note on the on the church. Right. To about almost $5,000. So right. About a $3,000 uptick, which isn't as high as I thought it was going to be given what we've done here. So again, that's kind of where our financial situation is as of today. Once we make all the final payments, we'll have it locked down as far as what our actual payment's going to be. But at this point, that's really where we stand. So if you have any questions for Glenn and I on the process, you can reach out to anyone at council, or you reach out to the office and they can reach out to Glenn and I, and we can certainly have conversations with anyone that wants to go a little deeper into that. Thank you, and have a great day.